oh, am I a bad person? You know, like, is me being authentic actually worse for the world? Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So this video, this topic, you know, this is an emotional topic, it's a sensitive topic for me and I think for a lot of people because we usually do not break up with our friends. Normally we just kind of naturally, you know, stop talking to each other, slow ghost each other. And I think it's very difficult to have the conversation with someone who you've had in your life as a friend for a while and say, actually, you know, I don't think we make sense anymore as friends, so let's go ahead and, you know, be apart. In the past week, I have both broken up with a friend and been broken up with as a friend, and I was like, who better than me to have this conversation? Also, I am feeling very grateful because to me, being able to have harder conversations, ones that I would typically avoid, to me is a sign of my own growth and my own healing. So that's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, let me know in the comments. Have you ever been dumped as a friend? Have you ever dumped a friend? Or have you only ever just slowly let the relationship die and then y'all just don't talk to each other no more? And both of y'all are like, oh, I wonder what happened to so-and-so, and you'll just never know because neither of y'all are ready to have that conversation. And of course, big thank you to all of my Patreon producers. Really appreciate you all. It really means a lot that I get to create these videos and you all are supporting me. I talked to one friend who literally exclusively watches my videos in the background while she cleans her home. And I was like, you know, I've been mentioning you as a Patreon producer this whole time. And she was like, oh, because that's not that is not the way she consumes my content. But listen, you do it however you want to do it. I do my part putting it out there. You do your part by consuming it however you would like to consume it. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to do when it comes to breaking up with a friend is understanding the actual reason why you want to end the relationship. I recently heard this quote that usually when you are triggered by a situation, 80% of the time it's about you, something in you. And when you are really, really triggered and activated by a situation, that means 90% of it is actually about you. As I was reflecting for my own situation about why I wanted to end the relationship, I think high level, you know, there just wasn't as much in common anymore, and I kind of knew that. And I'm the kind of person who, I feel like I'm kind of constantly growing because it's what I'm here to do, like it's what I like to do, that's important to me. And so I'm constantly reading new books, talking to new people, having new experiences, and constantly like shifting and refining and getting closer and closer and closer to who I truly am. And as a result, people who I was able to engage with and have deep friendships with a decade ago, that just isn't the same anymore. But at the same time, I also recognize that my heart was closed because of an incident that happened with me and this friend a while back. Because of what I've been through in my experience growing up and my own development around my body and harm and things like that, I'm very sensitive to things involving that. So when trust has been broken around that area, it touches a very deep wound, you know? So something that genuinely is something that just kind of happens and it's not a reflection of that person's heart or their soul or whatever, because of my own trauma, it hits this much deeper place and it causes a much deeper sort of pain and hurt in me that in this situation, I basically kind of never really got over. I wouldn't have had this language back then and I wouldn't have been able to know that's what I was doing back then. But essentially I kind of, I closed my heart in a very like subtle way. And then with time, it only got more and more and more like shut down and the wall only got kind of higher and thicker, right? And so as a result, by the time it came to this point, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm actually ready to not be, you know, in your life anymore. It was a hard thing to do because it'd been a long relationship, but it was the thing that was true for me. And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to ending all relationships, whether it's like a work relationship, a romantic relationship, or a friendship. It comes down to, are you honoring yourself in the relationship? I did an interview with Adobe for his podcast and he introduced me as someone who has become the voice for people who are betraying themselves. And I was like, dang, is that who I am? But I do think in that job, you know, quitting my job video, what people really resonated with is that they knew that there were times and they were in situations and circumstances where they were betraying themselves, where they were not honoring themselves. And when they got to that point of realizing like, wait a minute, I have not been loving myself the way I deserve to be loved and this isn't fair to me, that's when they sort of realized I've got to leave this situation. And that was what happened with the friend who broke up with me, where she kind of realized like, wait a minute, like, girl, you cool and all, but like you be saying some wild that doesn't really align with my values and I gotta get out of here. And I love that for her. And I think it's tough because for me especially, like I'm like, how could you not want to be friends with me? I'm great. But it's true that sometimes for that person to honor themselves and for you to honor yourself, it means not being in close relationship. It is each of our responsibility to honor ourselves. The next thing to do when it comes to breaking up with a friend is to communicate how you feel from a place of love. No one likes being broken up with, all right? No one likes, I mean, I don't know, maybe some people like breaking up with people, but I don't think they do. I think if they did, we'd see a lot less ghosting, right? Like it can be really difficult because you have to show up very vulnerably and say, I have emotional needs and wants and they are not being met in this relationship. And it is important for me to go and have those met. And it's not here with you. And it's hard to not take that personally. It's hard to not say, there's something wrong with me and the way I am. I know when my friend broke up with me, I had this feeling of like, oh, am I a bad person? You know, like, am I a bad person? And not even am I a bad person because of what I said, but are my core beliefs and genuinely what I believe and how I show up in the world, is this in fact bad? Because it's actually harmful. Is me being authentic actually worse for the world? Which is a crazy thing to think because of course being your authentic self is the biggest blessing you can give yourself and other people in the world. So that's kind of what comes up, you know, when you're having these conversations with people. And it can be tough because you don't want these people that you care about and that you love, you don't want them to be second guessing their own self-worth and their own value. It's because you honor them that you are being honest and that you are sharing that. So I think as you communicate, just really emphasizing, you know, there was a reason that you were friends with this person in the first place. There's a reason why you were attracted to each other. It could have been because of trauma, to be clear, you know, but there was something, there was a reason your needs and wants were met initially for you to be in that relationship. So just remembering that, you know, how you engage in this conversation is really going to stay with you, you know? And if you engage in a way that you don't feel represents who you are, assuming that you believe yourself to be a person who is deeply loving and rooted in love, it's not gonna feel good, you know? For me, when the person broke up with me and when I broke up with my person, I said, I do love you and I always love you and all that kind of stuff. And that was really emphasized was that the love was there. It was just a matter of the relationship no longer continuing. And then the final thing I think you should do when it comes to breaking up with a friend is allow yourself to feel your feelings. I think sometimes like when leaving a job, for instance, which I also think is kind of a breakup, and I have actually recently broken up with an employer, and I'm sure I'll tell you all about that at some point. If it's a job that you definitely don't like, you don't want to be there, you're burnt out, it was toxic, it can be like, oh, this is so great, and you're so happy when you finally leave that role. When it's someone that is a friend, like a good friend, there was probably a lot of really beautiful, loving, wonderful moments mixed in with the things that felt, you know, misaligned to who you are and to your values. And so it's a little bit, it's a little more bittersweet when it comes to ending that relationship. And I think it's important to let yourself feel all of the feelings involved with that and not try to push yourself into only feeling like, well, I did the right thing for me and good on me and I'm so proud of myself. Or the opposite where you're like, oh no, I'm this bad person, I'm so horrible, how could I have hurt this person, just being sad. Like, I don't think either of those, you know, ways of moving forward are helpful. I think actually feeling all of the different parts. I know for me, truly up to a couple of months ago, I want to say a month ago, but up to a couple of months ago, I was the kind of person who would ghost people in my life. Like if I didn't want to be in their life anymore, I would ghost people. And what's tough about that is I'm the kind of friend where we can only talk a few times a year, you know, once a month, and I still love you and think of you as a good friend. So it's really tough for people to know, like, wait, are you ghosting me because I haven't heard from you in 3 months, or is that just you being you? I'm a projector, by the way. Have y'all gotten into human design? I got a friend, shout out to Helen, she's also a coach, she's great, who got me into human design, and you know, now it's like it's a whole thing, but I'm a projector, and the big thing about being a projector is managing my energy, managing my rest, and so I need time to chill, you know, like I need time to just like hand back. So it can be tough for someone who's like, wait a minute girl, what, like, is this just you being you, or are you slow ghosting me? That's why I think communicating to the friends that you no longer want to be in their lives anymore is so helpful, because it allows people to have clarity, because those people in my life have no idea which bucket they're in unless I have a conversation with them. And for the most part, if you are a friend in my life and we talk a few times a year, chances are we're friends. It's just me being me. But for like 2 of y'all, it's just I don't fuck with you no more, and that's that. That's fucked up. See, that's fucked up that you watch her are like, and then which one am I? I hope I'm the one that I'm still her friend, but maybe I'm not, right? Feel all of the feelings involved with this. Because I used to be someone who would ghost, there's a part of me that's genuinely so excited and thrilled for my emotional development that I can now have these conversations. Because not that long ago, I couldn't, and it was too hard, it was too painful. And to this day, like, both of these breakups happened via text, so it still wasn't a matter of having the actual conversation. Even that is such a huge leap forward for me. For the friend who broke up with me, she said similarly, like, I would normally be the person to ghost someone, but I really want to honor, myself and you in this relationship and explain, and I thought that was so incredible. One thing we talk about with healing is that when you heal, the entire world heals a little bit too, because we're all related and all connected. So I feel like the moment I let God know, I am able to initiate and have these conversations, these like hard conversations where I'm being authentic and true to myself. That let God know that I was now open to having relationships with people where they could then have those hard conversations with me. Because I've had people ghost me and they haven't let me know, like, hey girl, so actually the reason why I'm not talking to you no more is X, Y, or Z. They've just been like, gotta go, And I've also had people, in the past who were like, hey girl, this is kind of what's going on. And I've genuinely really appreciated that. I think that's what it kind of comes down to, is that like it's hard, but we always really appreciate when someone's honest with us. I think for the most part, I know I am. It was interesting because the friend who broke up with me was like, oh, I hope you're not like mad, or she was like, I understand if you're angry or upset, but I really wasn't, because I understood what it was like to be on the other side of that, first off. And I also understood like it's incredible that we are able, like we are strong enough and we are rooted enough in our power that we can say and communicate and live in what it is that we believe and what we know to be true for ourselves. Like that's incredible. That's a moment of pride for me, that I'm signaling to people that they can have these conversations with me, and I'm a part of creating a world where more of these conversations become commonplace and become regular. And I kind of feel like that's what this video is too, because part of me was like, oh, should I make this? Because like maybe the person who broke up with me or the person I broke up with will watch it and they'll like feel a way about it. And of course I wouldn't want to inflict more hurt or more pain. But I was like, no, I think ultimately I'm only saying my truth and my experience and being authentic. So if my authenticity hurts someone, that's not my problem, that's their problem. But ultimately putting out this video, like there are people who are watching maybe who have never broken up with a friend or a partner or quit a job. They've only ever sort of let themselves get to the point where the other person leaves or they get fired or whatever else, right? And I think hopefully just by watching this, there'll be a part of them that kind of is resonating and feels the truth of that. And maybe in their next situation that doesn't serve them, they'll think about like, hey, maybe instead of doing this my normal way, I actually allow something new to happen. And yeah, that idea of like allowing new things to happen, stepping into the unknown, is something that Joe Dispenza talks about a lot. I talk about him in my video around healing my relationship to money. The idea of stepping into something new and being in the unknown, that's how we actually create the future. The future is not tomorrow. The future is when we make different choices and we make informed choices, not just repeating what we've done in the past, usually because of trauma. I'm really just excited because it means that I'm continuing to heal, continuing to grow into my development, and in the process sharing it with you, so hopefully you can be encouraged and inspired to do the same. So let me know in the comments if that's the case. Let me know. Is there someone in your life right now that as you watch this video you're thinking like, oh, I really need to have that conversation with this person? And will you be like, good for you, Chimdi? It's not gonna be me. maybe in the future. That's not my journey right now. And hey, it's all good. We are all developing at our own rates. We are all on our own journeys. It all is gonna end the same way for all of us, which is returning to the kingdom of heaven. So might as well just enjoy it and chill and don't judge yourself. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe if you haven't already. Join me on the Patreon. Ooh, new thing I'm gonna start saying is share this video. Shout out to Abaddon who ends all of his videos like that. I'm like, yeah, if you know someone, damn, what if you had a friend you wanted to break up with and you were like, maybe watch this video that Chimdi has made. Does it make you think of anything? And you just have me break up with them instead of you? That's low. I'll do it though. Friends, if a friend of yours has sent you this video, this is their way of saying that they no longer want to be in a relationship with you. Yes, it is bullshit. They haven't just talked to you about it and they're using my video instead, but that's where they are in their journey and you should honor it. I mean, you don't have to do anything. You can also call them and be like, what the fuck? But that's, I would suggest you honor it because that's where they're at. Look at me doing services for the people. I love this. Okay, bye.